Hello, a very warm welcome to Middle East Matters. I'm Sanam Shantier. Coming up on this week's show, Raqqa may be cleared of Islamic State militants, but the Syrian city faces a race against time to make it habitable once again. Members of an Israeli extreme right group are detained for threatening Arab men for dating Jewish women. Also coming up, a Jordanian woman bodybuilder smashes stereotypes. Dana Soumbouloglou joins us from Amman to talk about the daily challenges that she faces. We start with Raqqa, where the Syrian Democratic Forces declared victory last week. The black flags are taken down and the Islamic State fighters gone, but the city itself is now in pieces. Julia Seeger brings us the latest.
After months of fighting, Raqqa is in ruins, a ghost city. The more than 5,000 bombs dropped here in just a few months has left it in a state of utter urban destruction. There are still remains of the Islamic State group's occupation, like this road sign with their banner. Among other strange vestiges, this trailer belonging to a French transporter. No one knows how it got here.
Don't come too close inside the shop. There's another mine attached to a motion sensor. It's very dangerous.
A few meters further, another improvised explosive device. It was meant to detonate upon the opening of the shop's door. Such makeshift bombs are all over town. Many have already been signaled on the walls. And according to these Kurdish fighters, they were found by experts from Western Special Forces.
We have bomb disposal experts, but when the devices are too complex, we ask for the help of the French and Americans.
Residents have been banned from returning to Raqqa for now. Only a few families stayed under the IS group's occupation. Abu Mohammed says it's a miracle his house is still standing. For the last 3 years, he and his family lived holed up in his home in the city's outskirts to avoid coming across IS militants. His wife says one of their neighbors was a French woman who came every now and then to ask for milk.
She told me she had come alone to Raqqa with her daughter. Her husband was an atheist, and she had come here to marry an IS fighter.
Following the terror attacks in France, the jihadists were very happy, and they said the US would be next.
It's still unclear who will bear the responsibility for Raqqa's reconstruction. When residents return in a couple of weeks, they will find no life as it was before. The city's electricity and sewage systems have been destroyed, its schools and hospitals disseminated.
Turning our attention to Israel now, where mixed Jewish-Arab couples are truly a rare thing. And they have to jump over many hurdles thrown by both the state and society. Some are going as far as tracking down and threatening Muslim men dating Jewish women. Now, Benzi Gopstein, a prominent leader of an Israeli extreme right group, is now facing a legal hearing. Yanali has the story.
Authorities detained 15 suspected far-right extremists of the Lehava group. The nationalist movement says it fights for the preservation of Jewish identity in Israel. It's known for opposing interfaith unions by attacking Arab Israelis. The group's leader, Benzi Gopstein, says left-wing politicians are behind the arrests.
This is a political arrest, which the reformists have demanded from court. The police is rushing to charge me for no reason.
In 2014, Lehava activists protested against the marriage between a Muslim and a Jew in Tel Aviv, using slogans such as "death to Arabs" and "interracial unions are a Holocaust." Their goal is to quote-unquote save the daughters of Israel, and they do so by rejecting any form of personal interaction with non-Jews.
They arrested me because I told a woman that if she continues to date Arabs, bad things will happen to her. Her grandparents in heaven are crying.
Gopstein has been on prosecutors' radars for years for his controversial comments. In 2015, he was questioned after he called Christians blood-sucking vampires on local media and condoned the torching of Israeli churches. And in 2014, Le Havre members set fire to an Arab-Hebrew bilingual school in Jerusalem. The group's activities have pushed some politicians to consider categorizing the movement as a terrorist organization.
Moving on to Gaza, where local residents are giving the world a glimpse into their lifestyle. Although they require permission from Israeli or Egyptian officials to leave, they say their photos don't. In fact, social media has become a window for them.
With a smartphone and an eye for a good picture, Khaloud Nassar is among a small number of Gazan Instagram stars showing a different side to their home. Unable to leave without Israeli or Egyptian permission, she hopes her pictures will change perceptions of the blockaded coastal enclave.
The beginning of my work on Instagram was in 2013. I wanted to use it to show a new image of Gaza, far from the picture of war and destruction and the picture of the blockade that the world has of Gaza.
Fatma Masaba has gained more than 100,000 followers on Instagram. But she and Khaloud aren't immune to the bane of social media, trolls. She says she blocks between 5 and 20 people daily who leave inappropriate comments on her account.
The criticism that I face using Instagram is perhaps when I publish pictures or video clips that I appear in. Gaza being a conservative society, some people think that seeing a girl on social media isn't appropriate.
Although Gaza only receives a few hours of electricity per day, social media outlets remain popular. Nearly half the enclave's residents use Facebook, with smaller numbers also using Instagram and Twitter. The sites are valued links to the outside world.
Recently, we've observed very high use of these websites by activists and also by the general public. I guess that with the blockade or the hard conditions we live, social media websites have created a good channel for us to express ourselves and make our voices heard.
With 3 wars since 2008 between Israel and Gaza's Islamist rulers Hamas, Khaloud and Fatma hope that using Instagram, with its emphasis on pictures over text and political arguments, will show there's more to Gaza than conflict, strife and poverty.
Now, perhaps bulging muscles and glistening sweat are a desirable trait in a man. But in a woman, well, that tends to spark a little bit more debate, especially in deeply conservative societies in the Middle East. Now, one woman in Jordan is trying to muscle her way into the world of bodybuilding. That's a 23-year-old student, Dana Soumbouloglou, who's got many more challenges than lifting those hefty weights. And she joins us from Amman. Dana, thank you so much for speaking to Middle East Matters. Tell me, how did you get into bodybuilding?
So I would like to thank you first for inviting me to the show. I've been into sports since I was young. I've tried too many sports. None of them were that interesting to me. In 2012, I finished school, so I went to Greece to study journalism. When I was there, it was the very first time to be a member in a gym. And then I started working out there. For me, it was the best thing ever. I actually felt that was me. I found myself there. So that was when I was, okay, this is me. I'm going to start doing gym. I'm going to start building muscle. So on that time, I even stopped studying well. So I went back to Jordan. I decided to study sports. And now I'm here.
Now talk us through a day in the life of what we call a budding bodybuilder. What do you do?
So for a bodybuilder, you should know that you should have your meals. You have to have a regular workout routine. So for me, I work out 5 days a week to 6 days a week. Each workout is about 1 or to 1.5 or 2 hours, depending on the workout. And the meals should be 5 to 6 meals a day. Every meal contains a big amount of carbs and proteins.
Now, I think it's very much accurate to say that it's hard enough being a bodybuilder, let alone one in the Arab world where women are barred from the sport for both religious and cultural reasons. What reactions do you get for having gone down this path?
It was really hard at first. I would get some negative comments from people, if it were women or men, older people, especially girls. Till now, some girls are not that happy about what I'm doing. But some, and
what
my
do they
parents
say to
and
you?
my family at first, they would say, why you're being so manly, why you're losing your femininity, why you're trying to be a man, why you're building a muscle, muscles aren't for girls, why you're trying to be something you're not supposed to be. So it was like negative comments. But for my family, at first it was weird for them because maybe they've never met someone with muscles, let's say. But for now, they're being more supportive.
Now, it seems the negative remarks haven't really had that desired impact because you're still doing what you're doing.
For me, girls should understand that this life is not about just being a lady who would get married and have kids and stay in the kitchen. For me, a girl should actually also have a dream like men. Like, you should have a goal in life. You should seek for what's bigger than just being in a family and do nothing in life. You should have a goal. So this is my message to all women. You should have a goal in your life and seek for it.
Lastly and briefly, Dana, what do you plan to do with all this training? Any competitions?
I'm planning, after I graduate from university, which is this year, I'm planning for next year to compete in my very first competition. And my very goal that I'm really working hard for it is to compete in Olympia.
Olympia, of course, that's one of the biggest competitions, and because you can't compete nationally in Jordan. Dana Soumbouloglou, Jordanian bodybuilder, thank you so much for speaking to us on France 24. And thank you for watching this edition of Middle East Matters. Don't forget you can follow the show and catch up with all our news on Facebook and Twitter. Do stay tuned.